Good evening. Welcome to Rachel Pilcher Writing Workshops Live. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is episode 39. I am super excited to have made it to 39 episodes so far. I've been doing this for a little over a year and a half, and I'm thinking by adding the weekly, every Sunday episodes that I'm definitely going to be racking up the numbers. So I hope that you're able to join me, and if not, you can always watch it on the repeat. I do have an announcement to make for tonight before we get started. Most of you have probably watched previous episodes, so you know that on October the 12th and 13th, I'll be teaching 2 sessions. It's already narrowed down, 2 sessions with Writers in the Field in Mansfield, Texas. For under $100, you will have access to 2 days of hands-on interactive adventures, as well as gain some useful knowledge. So my 2 sessions, they're both going to be on that Sunday. As far as the schedule goes right now, it may change, but as far as I know, they're both on the Sunday, on the 13th. They are going to be called An Insider's Guide to Publishing, where I will be talking about the ins and outs of getting into publishing and the do's and don'ts whenever you're working on getting your manuscript into publishers' hands, and exactly what editors are looking for during that process. And the second session that I'm going to teach is called Daily Rituals for Beginning Writers. So that is perfect for a beginning writer who doesn't quite know where to start, or for a more seasoned writer that is looking particularly for just some helpful hints to kind of refresh yourself. So if you fit into any of those categories or somewhere in the middle, which that pretty much means every writer, you will be able to take those sessions and hopefully be able to gain some information that you're going to need. So for more information on Writers in the Field, you can go to rachelpilcherwritingworkshops.com and click under Rachel in Person. From there, it lists It lists all the events in which I will be participating in over the next few months. So Writers in the Field, I think, is the very first one right now. So definitely go check that out, see if it's something you would be interested in. I hope you all will come and join us. So tonight's topic is called Assessing Your Goals. And a lot of times you assess your goals at the beginning of the year. It's kind of a New Year's resolution sort of thing. But for me, I do both. I assess my goals at the beginning of the year, and then every year my birthday is in September. It was this last Thursday. So I usually go into my goals file, and I try to look at it on and off throughout the year anyway, just to remind myself of what I need to do. But I go into my goals file and I'm like, okay, so what did I want to accomplish for this year? And where am I in that process? And I kind of look at it as, with my birthday being in September, if I haven't accomplished even half of what I wanted to do, I can at least look at it and go, all right, I have 3.5 months-ish to be able to get on board and get things done that I need to get done. So at that point, I look and I reassess, and I'm going, okay, what do I need to do? So what I do, first thing, as I just said, I review my goals. What have I accomplished? What have I not accomplished? The next thing I do is I evaluate those goals and see what I haven't completed. And I look at why I haven't completed those particular goals. Is it because it is a seasonal thing? Is it because, I had this goal I was going to write a short story every week and I haven't done that? So, if you write a short story every week, you should have, by the end of the year, 52 short stories. If you haven't done it by September, you're going to be a little behind. But you can always evaluate those goals and see if that's something that's going to be realistic. And if it's something that you can complete by the end of the year, then you can add that to the list of what I need to do to complete. The third thing that I do is, do I need to alter or add goals? So altering that 52 week, as an example, if I look at it and say, I don't think I'm going to be able to get 52 short stories completed by the end of the year, by January 1st, but I might be able to get 10 or 12, depending on what the schedule is going to look like from here or there. So I evaluate, I try to find something that's going to be realistically capable of being done, and then I go from there. And sometimes I add goals because they're, you always end up having those moments where it's like, oh gee, I would really love to do that, but can I add this to what I already have scheduled? Well, if you look at what your goals were for the year and you're like, well, I have plenty of time to add this as well, or if I'm reevaluating, I can take this one thing out because it's obviously not something I'm going to be able to do, but I can put this other thing in, then that will get you into the reevaluation. So, and then altering the goals, the 52, alter it down to 12 for the rest of the year, especially if you haven't written any short stories. Now, if you've written several, then you can add that to the list, but, make it a goal. It's always an easily attainable goal. And then the fourth thing I do, and it's generally one of the last things I do, but the fourth thing I do is I complete a plan of action. So what am I going to be able to do to accomplish that goal from September the 19th, which is my birthday, last Thursday, to December 31st? What can I do to make sure that this happens? Does it mean that I have to get up 30 minutes earlier than I have been? Does it mean that I actually need to stick to that schedule that I planned on doing? Instead of coming home after work, coming home and just sitting back and watching, the news from 4 to 6 o'clock? Not that I do that. No, I don't do that. Do I spend that time doing something that is going to be proactive towards my goals? And this can be not just professional goals that you have. This could be, your own personal goals. My personal goals could be, I want to thoroughly clean my kitchen, every cabinet, underneath every pot and pan that could possibly be hiding anywhere. Get everything clean so that it is the, best, most healthy place that you can possibly be cooking out of. That's actually a goal of mine. So I'm going to need to do that really soon. I do a little bit here and there, but it needs to have a thorough cleaning. But, it's making that plan of action to say, okay, when I come home, I'm going to spend 30 minutes on this. When I get up in the morning, I'm going to spend, an hour on this. So what can I cut out, or what can I do to add? So adding could be adding more time that you have in the morning, and in adding time, that means getting up earlier. But I am an early bird, so I tend to function a lot better early in the morning. There's some people that can do things later in the evening and be perfectly fine. I'm usually half asleep by 9, and I think that's probably because I generally get up at 5:30. But some of the goals that I need to accomplish, I'm going to bounce that to get up at 5 and make sure that happens. So those are things that I do to reevaluate my goals. And this is going to be kind of a short episode because I think it's always good to have a check-in for yourself so that you know where you are. And a lot of people do that halfway through the year. I kind of do that, but I really make my birthday as the time in which I check in. And you can make your birthday that time as well, and then have different days throughout the year that you have that are target days to check in. A lot of times, like my earlier check-in time is the week I get out of school for summer break. That's a perfect time to check in. It's July or June. I didn't have summer break this year, so I forget when it actually starts. So the first week of June, I generally do a check-in to see where I am in my goals and how I need to adjust it and do all of that stuff. And then my birthday in September is the next time I do it. So that is a very easy way to do an assessment of your goals. You don't have to assess it at the very end of the year. Like I said, I think it's so much better to have targeted times throughout the year that you check to make sure that you are accomplishing what you want to do. I'm going to give you a preview tonight of what we're going to do for the next few weeks. I recently started going through some of my emails in my personal email. I don't always go through those as much as I do for my business email. And I found some information from the National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo, that I thought would be very useful to share and kind of talk through with y'all. So for, let's see, next Sunday through the end of October, so I already have this all planned out. It's going to be perfect. Sunday through the end of October, I'm going to talk to y'all about different discussions for NaNoWriMo Prep. And one of the great things is, in this email for National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo, is that they put out a guide, and I think their guide is awesome. So I'm going to kind of talk through each week what that week entails through the guide. Now, they are on their website. I think by the time this next episode airs, they're 3 weeks ahead. So if you haven't started out, then at least, you know, you can come on board with me. And what I usually end up doing, I'm going to combine the last two because I think they're very similar. So we will end just before November to be able to start your novel. So if you aren't already familiar with National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo, you will want to go to nanowrimo.org, and that is spelled NaNoWriMo.org, and sign up for a membership. It's free. And they have all kinds of wonderful things that are on there. So if you've never gone on it before, definitely sign up, because there's so much more to offer than I can offer you, or that, you know, a lot of different organizations can say that they can offer you. And it's free, and they have message boards and all sorts of things. But what you'll want to do is, once you get on to the NaNoWriMo website, then and you set up an account, then you go to, let me look at my notes. I have it on here somewhere. You're going to go to their Writers Resources section, and from their Writers Resources section, you will see Nano Prep 101. And from Nano Prep 101, they have a handbook there. You'll want to download that handbook, because that's what I'll be going through to talk to y'all about what you need to do to prep for November, for National Novel Writing Month. So I am in no way affiliated with NaNoWriMo, except that I do participate. Last year I did get my 50,000 word count goal, and now I'm still going through all of my stories that I wrote for my book to get it where it needs to be so that it can be published. So, you know, I'm going to take the challenge again, so I'll be doing it right there with you in November to get to that 50,000 words. So I hope you'll join me. If you found this information helpful, please make sure that you click on the like button just right over there to the side, and feel free to share this video with others who you think can benefit from my words of wisdom. Words of wisdom. It sounds a little bit better than what my notes say. They say my words of advice. So wisdom, advice, it's helpful. Thank you again for joining me tonight. I look forward to visiting with you again next Sunday, and we will be talking about NaNoWriMo. So get on board. If you have any questions about how to get through that site, definitely feel free to leave a comment. I will do what I can to help direct you to where you need to go. Have a good evening.